circumstances that are manipulated into place, the creation of a one world government to which nation states would be principalities, administrative units, a world central bank which would administer all financial transactions on the planet, a world currency which wouldn't be coins and notes, it would be merely electronic, cashless society for which there are fundamental implications for freedom, as we'll see as we go along tonight. A world army under centralized control with nation-state armies dismantled under the justification of seeking peace, and a microchipped population linked to a global computer, the latter of which sounds bizarre to many people on first hearing, except that we are ridiculously close to it and the technology already exists. So if we take one element of that under problem, reaction, solution, the world army, and relate it to Bosnia. Under this mind manipulation technique, the last thing you want is for the status quo in Bosnia, whatever it is, to be working, because then you haven't got a problem and you're in real trouble. So you make sure the United Nations peacekeeping operation is not only shown globally to be ineffective, it's actually severely embarrassed. Problem. The more horrific pictures come out of Bosnia, and my goodness me, they have over the last few years, understandably, the louder comes the public and political reaction. Something must be done. This can't go on. What are they going to do about it? And what has been the solution? A 60,000 strong world army under centralized control, the biggest multinational force assembled on this planet since the Second World War. Exactly what the manipulation requires. And later I'll put forward some more evidence to suggest that that is exactly what the goal of Bosnia is. Starting a war is a doddle. You know, there's no one in this room, I would say, that wants a fight tonight. Okay, fine. But I could go into this audience and I could start a fight with somebody. They would defend themselves. Other people in the audience would come to help them out. Suddenly, an audience that does not want a fight would be chaos, with fists and hands and arms everywhere. Take that to the global level with armies, and starting a war's a doddle. To keep the war going, you need money. Same people control the money. To keep the war going, you need arms. Same people control the arms. The way that this can be done with a very few people, at the peak, that is because if you look at every organization today, be it a university, a school, a government, a secret society, anything, a multinational company, business of any kind, they're structured as a pyramid. The pyramid is the structure of society today. I believe that we're actually moving in this spiritual awakening that's going on now from the pyramid to the circle, which is a very, very different way of people contributing to society. But at the moment we have the hierarchy, the pyramid, which works like this. In any organization, you've got a very, very few people at the peak of the pyramid. That very few people know exactly what that organization's about, what its real agenda is, what it's really trying to achieve. The further you come down from that peak in any organization, you're meeting more and more and more people who know less and less and less and less about what the organization's really about. They only know their part. The CIA call this compartmentalization, keeping from everyone else in the pyramid how what they're doing in apparent innocence links in with what other people are doing in apparent innocence to produce a very sinister pattern. I was talking to a guy who worked for 20 years at the listening station at Cheltenham, GCHQ. And he was telling me that that building is actually structured under this process of compartmentalization. If you work at GCHQ, you have an electronic card which only gets you in that part of the building where you work. You can't get anywhere else. So the only people in GCHQ who know everything that's coming in, how it fits together and what's really going on, what the real pattern is the very, very few people at the top. This is how it works all along. The Freemasons are a classic example of this. When you say that the Freemason secret society is involved, people think that you must be saying that every Freemason wants to manipulate the world to global dictatorship. Utterly ridiculous. Of course they don't. But if you look at the Freemason structure, the vast overwhelming majority of Freemasons in the world, you know, the ones that go down the local lodge and roll their trouser leg up and show their left thing or whatever, you know. Strange. I've always wanted to do that. It'd be a bit of fun. They never get higher than the bottom 3 levels of degree, the overwhelming majority. But in the Scottish rite of Freemasonry, which pervades much of world politics, particularly in America and other areas, there's another 30 degrees above that, to the 33rd degree, which the vast majority of Freemasons never get near. And there's another 13 levels not officially accepted to exist, which some people call Illuminati degrees, which at that level, the Freemason secret society is in a different universe to the part where the vast majority of Freemasons exist, right down here. Compartmentalization. This is how it works. So every one of these institutions that control the direction of the world and our daily lives is a pyramid. The banking system is a pyramid. You go into the local bank, the person you meet across the counter won't even know what's going on in the bank manager's office behind them, let alone what's going on at board level and higher. I met a guy only last weekend who'd been in the bank. He's retired now, but he worked for a big British bank, and he worked to a very, very high level in it. And he heard me speak, and he came up to me afterwards, and he said, you know, it's right, you know. He said, because I got very, very high in this bank, but there is an echelon above where I got that no one can get unless they are chosen by this elite few. So the banking system is a pyramid going to a peak. The intelligence agency network in the world is a pyramid going to a peak. At that peak, all the major intelligence agencies, British intelligence, Mossad, the CIA, all these around the world, they're the same organization. Not here, but here they are.